It is often remarked that when the disciple is ready, the master appears, and when the master takes the form of a book, it becomes a beautiful gift to your life forever. And I'm holding one such amazing gift, a collection of stories from the Tao masters put together by Soliloquy. A little word about Taoism. In its early days, Taoism was more of a philosophy or a way of life than a religion. And the Taoist tradition has been passed on by its great exponents and masters. And as Soliloquy, who put them together with so much of passion and intensity, and seemed to have enjoyed living these tales, he writes, "Life in the modern world is full of stress and anxiety, appearing to speed up at an ever-increasing rate, such that many things of lasting value have no currency in the age of internet dating and reality television programming. Yet it is still possible to gain both understanding and knowledge from these tales of the Tao, written thousands of years ago. My intention with these stories is to stimulate thought, insight, and even emotion as regards the lessons of this ancient yet evolving body of teachings. The ancient stories of Taoism are as relevant today as they were in the Han Dynasty and before. The insights and ideas that they present to us can be of great assistance in troubled times. And trust me, so I have discovered. Sit back, relax, and with your breath rising from your heels, spend some time with these thought-provoking, heart-opening, funny, bone-tickling tales. So like I said, Soliloquy has put together a soulful collection of these tales from the Tao tradition, written by various masters of the Tao tradition, namely Chuang Tzu and Lai Tzu. And I'm particularly fond of the first story. At times, we are drawn to particular tales. Some mysterious and mystical quality about these stories and tales turns them into magnets for the soul. And I've read this particular one several times, yet with each reread it reveals more and more. It's like a citrus fruit that has infinite capacity to deliver its inexhaustible sweet juice of wisdom. The more I squeeze its letters upon my inner palate, the more generously it pours, another helping after another helping. And I want to share this all with you. I'll be slow, deliberately slow in delivering this tale to you, because there is far more in the quiet spaces between my utterances that you will be able to hear, like the bird sound in the background. It is some magic that I have felt when I read it slowly, and I want to try and pass that magic to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you To Be or Not to Be a Butterfly by Chuang Tzu. By Chuang Tzu. The butterfly flitted on its way, unmindful of the gentle breeze that ruffled its wings. It flew here and there, content in its own way to wander without a goal, without any needs except to be part of the breeze that blew past its wings as it flew along, unhurried, unfurled, and even. This little butterfly's life had been brief. From caterpillar to chrysalis, inside its quiet and heavy cocoon, it had stayed for what seemed eons of time, quiet, patient, waiting for the moment when it could break out of its prison, unfurl its wings, and fly straight up into the air. Now it did so, flitting around in circles, occasionally meeting up with another butterfly, always mindful of predators or a strong and sudden gust of wind that could tear at its thin, translucent wings, and send it hurtling down to earth. Now and again the butterfly seemed to have glimpses of another life, another form. It seemed to be a much heavier and a more ponderous life, this other one. But usually the butterfly ignored these unsettling inner sightings and just did what butterflies do, without thought, without motive, without any other goal than just to be what it was, a butterfly flying free. And as it did so, the day lengthened into night, and the butterfly headed back to the tree where it slept through the long period of darkness. It flew gently towards it and then suddenly stopped. The man lay in his bed, bewildered, bemused, lost in thought. It had seemed so real to him, this gentle butterfly life. He lay in the early morning light, listening to the sounds of the village as it slowly came to wake all about him. He heard the creaking of doors as people made their way to the outhouses. He heard the sudden squall of an infant, the bark of a dog, the clomp of an ox as it trudged out to the fields, led by its sleepy master. He heard the sounds of fires being built, the tea kettles and the rice pots being readied for breakfast. He lay there a long time, without rising, without moving, other than the slow and deep rising and falling of his belly as he breathed his way into the day. His dream, if that is what it was, had been so vivid, so real. He had actually experienced himself as that butterfly, had felt the breeze on his wings, felt himself carried through the air as light as a seed, had thought only butterfly thoughts. Yet now here he was, back in his human body, back in the world of cause and effect. But which was truly real and which was the dream? Himself as a butterfly or himself as a man, waiting here for his students to come and drag him into the light of the day with their incessant questions and demands? How did he know that what he was experiencing now was not a dream? That he really was that butterfly, living its simple butterfly life, unattached and a part of the great natural world of Tao. He smiled in the darkness then. Truly it did not matter if he was a man who had dreamed he was a butterfly, or a butterfly who was now dreaming he was a man. He knew what he knew, and he knew what he didn't know. That was what sustained him through the long days and nights of his human life. What he knew or experienced in his butterfly life was also there, just outside the periphery of his vision. He almost laughed out loud. Imagine if I shared this with my students, he thought. He could just see their faces as he explained to them that he was not truly sure if what he experienced in his human life was any more real than what he experienced in his butterfly life. He slowly rose from his bed and, stretching out his arms about him like the slow unfolding of butterfly wings, went forth into the day. He slowly rose from his bed and, stretching out his arms about him like the slow unfolding of butterfly wings, went forth into the day. Chuang Tzu. Okay, now that you've heard it, I want to ask you this question because I've been confronted by it many times. Have you ever felt like this? I mean, as more than one, more than a human body? Let me rephrase. Have you ever felt like a soul that is having more than just a human life experience? I had a vivid dream a few weeks back that I was a bird, a mighty condor flying high above the Andes Mountains, the pressure of the cold wind beneath my wings, the sight of magnificent snow-capped Andes Mountains below. Everything was so real. And then I remember I used to love that TV series, The Flight of a Condor, as a child. And I often imagined and dreamt of flying. And for so long I nurtured a desire to fly a plane, but then life happened to me. And it must have happened to you also. Its noise intruded in those dreams that life of a condor ended somewhere. Have you ever sensed these multiple existences and not rubbished them as figments of imagination? I believe Chuang Tzu when he says he's confused as to which life is to be termed as real and which one to be termed as a dream. Because the moment we accord, this is my real life status to one of the lives that we think we have or we feel we are living, that particular life, it just dumps all its sorrows and its incessant demands like a vacuum cleaner. It sucks us in. And it's like a moment when we say, this is me, the real me. We kind of plug an ego to the USB of that life and a movie starts playing and we are hooked. And we just start to believe it totally and lose our peace. Chuang Tzu unintentionally seeks to plant this beautiful seed of doubt in our minds and confusion in our minds so that we may remain ourselves and not the mere body of an animal, a bird, or a man having an ordinary sort of experience. The moment we can watch all that unfold like a dream, we become invincible, untouched beyond everything, untarnished, egoless, divine, a beam of light, and that is our true nature. In a short tale, Chuang Tzu reveals a divine truth, an undeniable fact. We are one superconsciousness, dreaming several lifetimes and leading multiple lives. The key to bliss is knowing that it all is a dream. The key is to sleep peacefully at night and to transcend the dilemma of being or not being a butterfly. For we are meant to be, and yet we are none of this.